Welcome to the Beyond Divorce Embracing Change podcast. My name is Michael Flores, and I will be your host while we explore the complex journey of divorce with empathy, insight, and practical knowledge. Whether you're contemplating separation, in a divorce, or looking for support post-divorce, our episodes provide expert guidance, stories, and strategies to help you through every step of the process. We are actual therapists, helping clients who sit on our couches every day through their difficulties of divorce. You are not alone. Join us as we delve in and find solutions that give you hope again. We're glad you're here.
This podcast is not intended to replace legal or personal help. This podcast is for informational purposes only.
Well, good day, everybody, and so thankful that you're back. It's been a while since we've actually recorded, Armando.
It seems like yesterday.
For you?
For me.
Oh, man. Seems a little longer.
I talk to you every day, Michael, so it's...
Oh, my gosh. We're not podcasting every day, though, man.
No, but we do go into these topics some ways, so it feels...
Well, and I think that's why we made the decision to do a podcast, because we were like, we literally talk about dynamics of families and systems almost on a daily basis. And I think, it's funny. I think that clients forget that we do this every day.
Every day?
They literally sit in our sessions and they forget, like, hey, we do this every day. Like, you're explaining things to us, which is fine. We want you to explain. But you're explaining it to us as if you're teaching us the dynamics of the things that we're actually trained to look for and see. And it's better if you just come in and you're just extremely vulnerable, which is hard to do. I get it. But if you come in and just go, here's the truth. I'm not great at this, or I made a bad boo-boo as a parent, or that is more effective in therapy for everyone than the opposite of that. Let me tell you how to see this. Let me tell you how to look at it. You know what I mean?
Well, I think for them too, this is the first time they're going through it. So for them, they want to explain everything, right? It's their first rodeo.
And we got to remember that too, right? We have to remember, and I think it's a beautiful thing when we're training clinicians is to say, please remember, just because you've heard it before doesn't mean that they have. It's their first.
Just because I'm a veteran rodeo clown doesn't mean this rodeo is not going to be a little bit different.
We're going to start throwing all that stuff out again, because last time we talked about a burp, and now we're talking about rodeo clowns.
Well, we're going to switch gears today. We're going to talk about rodeo clowns.
Okay. And we're switching gears from parenting with guilt?
Yes. So the idea, the concept came from whenever there's a divorce, sometimes there's guilt about that, right? Like, I've changed my child's life. Like, I've completely flipped their life upside down, and there's guilt behind that.
Do parents actually say that, or is it something that they imply?
I've had both. I've had both, where they have felt like ashamed that, like, I had this vision of what I wanted my child's life to be, and now it's not that.
Right.
But also, like, the concept of, well, I don't know how they're going to handle this. Like, they're so young, they're so little, and I feel bad about it. And so that guilt kind of comes out.
Yeah. So, and I guess I'm curious is, what are some things that you've done, Armando, when it's become that clear that they're parenting their child out of this guilt? How do you approach that?
So I think you have to kind of dissect it first to see where it's coming from, right?
Okay.
Because sometimes it's not always the guilt. Sometimes it's just... What are the parenting decisions coming from? What does that look like? And so really, I really want you to think about, like, okay, what's the difference between compassion and overcompensation?
Explain that.
So compassion is, okay, I know this is really hard for you. I'm going to try and make these transitions easy. I'm going to try and make things easy. Overcompensation is, oh, you get 2 Christmases. I'm going to give you like 3 Xboxes, a PS5, and a Switch too.
You've heard that before, huh?
Yeah, I have. And so, like, that's the overcompensation, right? I mean, I've had kids, and this is kind of funny, it's kind of cliche, but, like, they get so excited because they're like, I get 2 Christmases now.
Oh, yeah.
And they get, like, all these big gifts, extravagant gifts. And I was like, have you ever gotten gifts like that before? I never got this when my parents were together. And so it's an overcompensation of, I feel bad. Let me give this back to you.
Right. I think was that movie, Talladega Nights. I think there's a scene where it's a humor, but a comedy, but that's a real statement that, I think he says something like, are you guys getting divorced? I'm like, well, I don't know. And the other one's like, yes. And he's like, yeah, 2 Christmases. And, it's supposed to be a humor event, but you're right. Like, I guess that's really a play off the overcompensation, maybe.
Yeah. Because think about it. these kids sometimes see this and they are in pain, right? They struggle with
Absolutely.
the transition of their family, their foundation of what they thought it was, and now it's shifted, now it's changed. And parents feel that pain, right? Like they see that. And how can you not have a sense of responsibility or guilt about that?
Sure, and I think that's where the overcompensation comes in, is where they're feeling like they have to fill a hole that they believe exists for the child. And then what's really what could be scary is if your child senses that your goal is to fill a hole, they'll continue to create one for you to fill, even if one doesn't exist.
I mean, I work with a lot of teenagers, and a lot of times they do get a little entitled and they do get a little manipulative. And they'll ask for things that, like, you're like, why are you asking for that? Like, and they'll get it. And that's because they know they can play their parents because they're playing on that guilt.
Do people realize that the byproduct of entitlement is victimhood?
Oh,
Did they know that?
Do you know? I knew that. I mean,
think about it. Think about if you create a child who becomes entitled, as soon as that's taken away or they're told no or it doesn't work out, they are victimized. They literally take on a victim mentality. And I think we have a culture where we have a generation of a lot of entitled children. Not saying like, I hear like trying to burst someone's bubble, like, oh, all our kids are entitled in this generation. What I'm saying is there seems to be more entitlement now with kids, at least that I've seen in the way they talk, that when they're told, oh, well, we're going to go do, it's a court order, we're doing that. They are just like, they're the victims of everything.
Well, but I think that stems from, I don't want to lose that connection with my child, so I'm going to like overcompensate and listen to their emotions, listen to their feelings,
which then can create the idea,
that
the illusion,
that you have control, that you are driving this bus, you're driving the situation, but it's that fear that I'm going to lose connection, or that you're going to view me like the other parent, and that's the other dangerous comparison, right?
Oh my gosh, Armando, I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, it's a comparison of, well, I want you to like me more, or I don't want you talk bad about mom, or you talk bad about dad. I don't want you to say that about me. So let me give you those things.
So then you get what do we get? The fun parent, the Disneyland dad. We get all these. Yeah, because they're trying to, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, no, or also the ideal of what it's supposed to be, what it should be, right? Like it should be this way. So I'm going to do everything I can to make it that way. And when it's not like that on the other side, then I can critique it, or the kid is going to critique it. So I'm trying to, out of guilt, trying to make it the best how it should be because your other parent's not around anymore.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're saying there could be, I hear a double layer. One being that when a parent is parenting out of guilt, they parent as a way of fulfilling a hole they think exists that they don't want for the child, or a fear of losing connection.
Yes.
Right. I stepped away. I can't protect you in that home anymore. I can't protect you with that other parent. And so I fear that that won't be there. So I have to overcompensate. Right. And they end up doing that with the child, which then creates a false reality for the child of what real things look like in the world.
Yes.
And then that parent could be doing it out of fear of, like, I don't want to lose the connection. Like I can see the kids pulling away from one parent. I don't want to lose that. So almost they befriend. Is that what they do? They
befriend, or they overcompensate. They befriend, they give gifts, they, it's like I'm not a regular mom, I'm a cool mom kind of thing, right? Like I'm trying to connect in that way. Well,
and that's when we hear like kids say, like, my parents like my best friend, that's that my little antennas go up and I go, okay, wait a second. How did that dynamic become as such? And I'm not saying that, I think the way I've said good parenting looks is when you start out as a little kid, your parents are literally in charge of everything. Like they direct when you eat, what time you go to bed. I mean, they are the directors of your whole life when you're little. You get into your preteens, so you start developing some autonomy. So now things become collaborative, but with the end being what my parents said. That's what I think your teens are. Your teens are like, my parent will sit down and have a conversation with me about it. They'll talk to me about what I feel, what I think, how I feel about it, but they still are my parent. They still say, well, I know you feel that way. We're going to do this.
But this is the line.
Yeah, there's a line. Exactly. And it's still there. When they hit young adulthood, so now they're about to go off to college, whatever it may look like, they're moving out of the house in some form. Like they're going to go live on their own, whether they're living in a dorm, apartment, whatever. The dynamic starts to shift where we become like extremely good confidants. I'm a guide, but I'm not the doer. So you're going to go take on the world. right? And you're going to deal with the hardships. And when you're not sure how to respond or where to go, you can call me and I can give you some advice on some things I would consider, or things I might say, or things you might do. But in the end, you got to make that decision. I remember when I was dealing with my first, as an adult, my first issue with, I don't know what it was, Armando. It was I was dealing with a professional issue, maybe in the professional world, and I didn't know how to respond to it. And I remember calling my dad and being like, Dad, this is what's going on. I don't know what to do. And my dad gave some great feedback, but my dad also wanted to go, well, I'll tell them, let me send them this, or let me do. And it's nice. He wants to help because he's the parent. I don't want someone to hurt my kid. But by letting him do that and not me going first, I'm really, he's really depowering me.
Yeah.
Right. He's taking away the confidence that I can build, the things I can learn, but he's trying to protect me still. And I think what a good parent does is a good parent says, hey, look, you go first, and if you need me, I'm here. But here's some things you might consider as you approach it.
Well, I think to that point, that's where that guilt or trying to make it up can create that enmeshment or create that that reliance on both people, right? And then that's where we end up into the parentification, because it's not coming from a place of malice. It's coming from, I'm trying to fix my mistake of this divorce or this marriage. And it has a through line throughout those actions, unconsciously, I think.
So guilty parenting can create a level of enmeshment that bleeds into parentifying?
Absolutely.
Wow. I mean, if I heard that correctly, that's kind of how my brain's putting it together. That's interesting, Armando.
Well, because this came up this week just because a couple of cases and people talking is that they feel so bad that they can't be there for their child all the time. So they're trying to do all these extra things for them.
Right.
And so in turn, the kid then says, well, then I have to check in with my mom or my dad all the time to make sure I'm doing what's right because they're checking in with me. Enmeshment.
Correct.
Then there's that reliance of now I have to check everything. And now, oh, well, you like my opinion. You're asking me about things. Now I feel more empowered. Parentification.
So how does a parent almost discern whether or not they're parenting with guilt, they're doing guilty parenting? How do they self-assess that? I
think you ask yourself the question, do you feel guilty? Do you feel ashamed that your child is suffering suffering in quotes, right? Maybe, maybe not, because of the divorce.
So
do you feel responsible?
Say it again. So what's the question there?
So do you feel like it is your fault, or you feel responsible for your child suffering or in pain because of the divorce? And if the answer is yes, okay, what is that responsibility? Right? It's not about guilt, it's about responsibility, it's about acceptance. We're getting kind of ahead of ourselves here.
No, you're good. I just think this is a great question to give our listeners, people that may never meet us, to say, hey, look, if you want to start with trying to understand the way, maybe it is subconscious. You don't recognize how you think you're doing a great job, or I'm but there's something about the way you're doing it. It's just, it might not be actually being helpful to your child. It's not healthy in some ways.
Right.
And so a way to gauge that is to say, how do you personally feel, right? Do you feel it is your fault, or in the pain is there because of the divorce? Do you feel like that's on you?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like, yes, this is on me. My child is struggling because of what I've done or what's happened to us, because I've heard that before too. He divorced us and left, or mom divorced and left. And so now we're all part of the pain together. If you find that yes is the answer to that question, then ultimately what you're saying is you could be finding yourself using guilty parenting.
Mm-hmm. Guilting could be, that could be the driving force.
Guilt is the driving force of your parental approach.
Mm-hmm. And the other question to ask yourself too, and I see this more in high conflict, is do I feel guilty that I got away, but they still have to go and experience this other?
Oh, I've heard that before. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So that would be the second part.
That would be another question to ask yourself.
Do I feel guilty that I was able to get away, but they weren't?
Mm-hmm. I no longer have to interact. I no longer have to deal with this person, but my poor child has to. They have to experience this person.
Got it. Any other questions you would think to ask him?
I think those are the two big ones. I think if you're in a high conflict, or there has been some trauma or some violence or some abuse or some difficulty, that second question is something to really ask yourself, because I think I see that a lot just with the work that we do. And so in that's where I see a lot of that enmeshment or that overcompensation, because there is a guilt that this person was so toxic, was so dangerous, and I have to put them back in the lion's den. And I feel guilty about that.
Wow.
Little brain's going. I can see your.
Oh, no, I'm just.
Your hamster wheel turning.
Well, because I think about the sessions I've sat in, and typically we'll see this with the non-reunifying parent. The non-reunifying parent could find themselves in that category. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't typically find the reunifying parent complaining of guilt, but I feel the non-reunifying parent seems to show up with that.
Yes.
And what I'm learning just by what you said is that the non-reunifying parent then takes on this role of guilty parenting, we'll call it, and ends up creating a version of enmeshment that the child has on them that they can't really see probably. They don't see it, but if a professional sees it and says, hey, or a judge sees it, or an attorney or an amicus or whoever, and points it out, or a caseworker, I mean, so many people can be involved in cases, right? But they point it out to them, and then they feel like they've been misread or they've been judged unfairly when they're just trying to do the right thing by their kid. I don't think anyone's arguing that they're not doing the right thing. What you're saying is you're parenting from a different place, right?
Yep.
Because it's the guilt you feel. You're serving self through child without realizing it.
You're trying to heal yourself by using your child.
Because the guilt you feel. Correct. And so then what you do, if you've changed the way you've parented the child through the guilt, which then leads to this potential enmeshment that you've created with the child. Well, if the child's enmeshed to you, who can they not be enmeshed with or connected to? The other parent who's reunifying. That's what I was thinking, because of the non-reunifying parent. And then the child is likely to go into this parental role because the kid realizes, I got to take care of you now, because you've been taking care of yourself through the kid.
And now we're on the same level.
We're on the same level. So the kid now is parentified, and the non-reunifying parent comes in and says, I'm being alienated. Oh my gosh. Our listeners are going to have to go rewind that, replay.
And
hold on.
And this is something I was thinking about again this week. Like, it was just something that kind of came up that, and it came up not even through a high conflict case I was working on. It was kind of just they recently divorced, working with dad, trying to kind of figure out, and he was overcompensating.
Yep.
And so I was like, hey, be careful. And he said, be careful. And I kind of was like, because this is what happened. And then I just kind of found myself going down this rabbit hole with him. And I'm like, oh, that's how we got over here from this other one.
So I have a question. Do you think we as therapists have overcompensated because we've seen certain situations in family systems and we think it's the best way to protect the kids, so we overcompensate as therapists?
Probably.
I bet we do. I'm going to be honest with you. I think when I was doing this as a rookie, I almost know that I did. This is kind of going back to when a therapist is completely child-centered. I think they can find themselves in there. If you're only child-centered and not family systems oriented, I'm going to say that again. If you're only child-centered and not family systems oriented,
meaning you're only focused on the child's feelings, what they want,
correct,
how they're feeling, their ideas, their understanding of things, and you're only getting that understanding,
you'll overcompensate as a clinician.
Well, because you have compassion for this child.
But you're correct.
But that's the piece, though. You can have compassion, not overcompensation.
So how do we do that?
Clinicians, parents, all of it?
I don't know. Let's go all of it.
So I think the best way to do it is to really kind of set boundaries. Right? If you set those boundaries and be okay with, sometimes you're going to upset the child, sometimes you're going to upset somebody, that's okay. Right? Those boundaries are important. You're like rocking back and forth.
Oh, dude, I'm loving it.
I don't know if you got the tism or you're just excited.
Wait, I'm rocking back and forth. I'm sitting here in my chair, just going back and forth, going like, yes. I'm making it very known that I'm saying yes. because how many times have we had kids come in and we've had to reset what they think they know?
I've upset the kid.
I have too. Like, they'll come in and go, why is no one listening to me? And I go, well, what do you mean? Well, I've said this, but no one's listening to me. Okay, so are you saying they don't think they've heard you, or they just didn't agree with your decision of what you wanted? Right? Because not aligning with what you want and not hearing you are two different things. I can hear you and just still not agree. And so That's that boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the hard part, I think, as a parent that's parenting out of guilt. How do they go back and reset a boundary when they're doing it out of guilt?
Well, I think that's the hard part is they don't want to upset the kid.
And that's yes.
And so they don't set those boundaries.
And then what happens?
So then the kid thinks they're in charge. And so then they get parentified. And then right. And so then if you're going to the other house and there are boundaries, it becomes like, well, my dad lets me do this or my mom lets me do this, so I don't want to be over there. And then it can turn into a competition for the child. And this happens not even in high conflict, right? Like this happens in just
in my home with my kids.
Well, I can't speak to that.
No, I just think I'm glad you said that because we're sitting here talking about a normal thing that could occur, but how it becomes completely out of control in a high conflict divorce. A lot of I did that podcast with that attorney in California, and I remember she said that so clearly. I like what she said when she said, family law takes the best people and shows us their worst.
Mm-hmm.
Criminal law takes the worst people who show their best. And I'm like, yeah, it's just like, wow, I've never thought about that, but I've seen that. Yep. You know, I've seen really good people at their worst. Like, have you ever not worked with a family just like, man, this is a really cool family? They are just like, their dynamics are just like creating so many problems.
And I think that's something that I always tell my clients too, when like dads or moms come in and they've had a falling out with their child or something bad has happened. And, you know, I don't want to judge you based on this one snapshot on this one bad night where you reacted poorly.
Right.
You know, like that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to look at the relationship as a whole.
Correct.
I'm trying to look at the family system in its entirety, right? But that's not what's being presented in court. What's being presented is this one time where you snapped, you were tired, and you snapped at this kid. Not great, hear me say. You're not getting a gold star for that, but bad, right? And so with that said, I think boundaries are important to help kind of level that. With that said, consistency and connection.
Talk about that.
So the more you're consistent, you don't have to be guilty, right? Like you know what to expect. The kids know what's going on. You know what's going on. You don't have to have guilt. As much as consistency as you can create in the new normal.
Yeah, we love using that. Yep. The new normal.
The new normal, that consistency is going to alleviate those feelings of guilt. Like, oh, my kid's okay.
Yep.
Because that's how that guilt goes away. You're seeing your child live and thrive, and you're like, okay, I don't have to feel guilty that I have completely torpedoed their entire childhood. They're going to grow up, and they're going to ruin all their relationships, and they're going to end up just like me, and that's what happens. So if you can create that consistency and connection, that's going to help. And so you don't feel like you have to compete with the other parent because you have your own connection, your own consistency. Am I making sense?
Yes. The question that you would be asked probably is, how do I do that?
I think first is, do I feel guilty?
Yeah.
Right? Ask yourself, right?
Self-audit.
What are those things that what are my boundaries? Let me create these boundaries that are healthy.
Yes.
Let me be consistent with them, and let me connect with my child. You don't have to be the Disneyland parent. You don't have to be, every time we're there, we're going to Six Flags or Disneyland or the water park. But a lot of parents do because they feel guilty. Well, I only get a short amount of time, so I want it to be the best.
Yep.
I mean, I hear that all the time, is that, well, I only get them every other weekend, so I'm not gonna spend my time arguing with them, or I'm not gonna spend their time doing homework with me. I want to have fun with them. How many times have you heard that?
Oh, I've heard it a lot of times.
And so that's parenting out of guilt, right? And those are those small things that in a high conflict situation blow up.
Yeah, I think how I want it and what is needed are two different things sometimes. And I think what we try to do as therapists is we go, what's the need, not the want? I mean, we had a case recently where we're trying to really help a whole family work, but the child has a need that may be outside of what both parents may really want.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to look at the parents and go, look, we have two options here. We can go off what you want. We can go off what the court wants. But in the end, if it's not what the child needs, then what are we really doing here?
Mm-hmm.
We could be making it worse. And we're not interested in that, are we? So those are hard conversations, but that's a boundary line. One of our boundary lines is, what does the kid need, not what does everybody want?
It's
sometimes what they need and what they want don't match. And it's a boundary, and it's a good, clear, clean boundary. And if we're consistent with that, I think people go, they got it.
But I think that's where you think about it as a responsibility.
Sure.
right? It's the responsibility of...
We think of it as a responsibility.
And I think the parents, it's a responsibility to be a parent, all right?
Yes.
It's a responsibility. Sometimes you're going to annoy your kid. You're going to make them upset. They're not going to like you.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to hear I hate you. I wish I had a different family. I want to go live with the other parent, whatever. You've done a good job. Good job.
Yeah. I'm going to change my last name. Kids know, kids can be, they're good at being ruthless, man. They probably hear it at their lunch tables and stuff, but kids know you better than you think they do. They just probably can't verbalize how they know you so well. But most kids do know their parents. Like I remember asking a kid one time, like, if I really wanted to play your parents, how do I do that? What's the first thing I do? Man, they gave me a list.
Yeah, they know.
They know. Like, oh man, you know how to get my mom to do this? You know how to get my dad? It's like, cool. I like when we do that. Like, hey, I told one kid one time, I said, hey, if your family was going to adopt me, so let's pretend I was your age and your family was going to adopt me and I'm coming to this family and I got to interview you first. And I asked you, like, what should I expect it to be like at Dad's house? Right. And if I want to bend Dad to my will, what should I do? They can answer that question.
Yeah, they do. They know.
So these parents don't think that the kids know. They know. And not that they're using it or playing it. They can, but they do know. The thing that I wish parents understood is that kids are always going out first, not in first. Parents are going in first, not out first.
Explain that.
So what I've learned with parents, the more I've worked with them, is they're always thinking about what's going on in them, right? Whether they feel the guilt or they fear the connection, they're working from within, right? And then they parent out, starting in, out. Kids start out and go in, which means that kids think about what's happening in my system first. What's happening with mom? What's happening with dad? What's happening between my parents? What's happening here? And then they go in and go, what should I do? I think I need to lean into this person more. Or I think I need to do. And so they're making decisions based on what's happening outside of them. Parents are making decisions based on what's happening inside of them. Did I say that right?
I would agree with that. That's part of the...
Yeah.
That's part of the exploration of children, right?
Yeah.
They're exploring the world. They're trying to feel out what's going on out there. I mean, how many times have we gone out there? I mean, how many times have we said, if you're okay, they're okay? And
oh gosh,
because that's what they're looking for. They're exploring out there. This is safe. This is okay. I'm safe. This is okay.
Yep.
And again, this goes back to consistency. I really need consistency like painted in my office because I say that all the time.
You say hate is expensive and consistent. You do say those two things a lot.
I say consistency a lot because it's important. In a world where changes always happen.
Well, what does consistency create for children though?
Safety.
Yes,
Trust.
And they use the word safe when they really mean secure.
Yes.
I think people got to understand too, kids like to interchange the word. They don't use the word secure. It's a bigger word. But they say it's not safe when they really mean secure. You know? Yeah, I agree with that. Final thoughts, Armando. You want to leave them with?
I think just thinking about how your guilt, if you're focused on your own guilt, if you're focused on what I've done, how that's impacting the kids, and you're leading that way, like just question, like, okay, am I doing this to make myself feel better, or is this really my responsibility to the child to make sure things are okay? Am I overlooking things because I feel guilty? Oh, they didn't take out the trash. It's okay. I don't want to get into a fight because we only have 2 days together. Well, you're doing a disservice to your child. Make him throw out the trash. Sorry. And again, children benefit most from consistency and connection, right? You can have that connection. You don't have to overcompensate.
I think that thing that you said about parents fear losing connection or the change of connection, because when a divorce happens, kids have to change too. And so if a parent comes in and they've always had a really close relationship with one of their kids, and then the divorce happens and then their kid's relationship with them is different, it has to be because someone else did that. And I think if a parent will self-audit, not like, I mean, you can work off self, but it's really just taking audit and going, what have I done, or how have I created a need for my child to be different? It may have not even been you. It can't just be situational. I mean, I had a kid, a 14-year-old, tell his mom just the other day, and I think they almost resolved their whole thing in one session. But he literally said to his mom, like, sometimes it's not you doing anything. It's really just me. Like, I'm just like being a kid, and I don't need a solution. I don't know why I'm pissed off. I'm just mad. He's probably having hormone stuff, you know? I mean, they're changing. And he kind of explained that to his mom, which I thought was really awesome. It was very mature of him. Boy, you should see mom's light go off. Like, oh, like I was making it into something that
it wasn't.
So I'll tell you what the word was, but I kind of messed around with it. I said, maybe I'll need like a code word that lets you know, like, hey, I don't need anything. I'm good. But I understand that you recognize that something's going on, but I am really good. I'm okay. And the word that we're going to use is pickles. So like, you're like, hey, you look upset, and you're like, yeah, I'm upset. And like, hey, we need to talk about it. And you go, pickles. So it's kind of like,
That's wild. I love that.
I'm actually okay. Makes sense. But like, I don't need anything. It's a way to let them know. And it was really, they came up with it. I just used the word pickles, and they don't have to adopt the word. But the reason I did that is I thought, how can I help them communicate what is uncommunicated?
Mm-hmm.
And by having like a code word, it lets the person know, like, hey, we're good. You don't have to do anything. And that was, just something that it would be between them. No one else would know what they were talking about. And I don't know, it was really cool. Matter of fact, I think it was supposed to be a weekly deal. I'm supposed to meet with them every week. I did one session. I don't think we need it. I was like, I don't really think we need every week the way y'all did this. And I think they agreed. And so I think I'm going to end up seeing them in like 2 or 3 weeks, which is awesome. I mean, to make that much progress so quickly, just by being able to clarify
what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah. And then creating consistency around that, like you said, because consistency, what was your trust formula? Remember that?
Consistency and predictability.
Plus predictability.
Over time.
Equals trust. That's it.
Little math formula for you.
Oh, I love it. Consistency plus predictability. Over time.
Or multiplied by time. Not over time, because that means division. Multiplied by time.
Okay. Meaning it happens time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
Equals
trust.
Bingo. And I love it. So, man, Armando, I think they got more than they bargained for out of this one. Anything else? Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's it. I think that it just understand that these small things can very quickly blow up. We see the blow ups.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can help you nip that in the bud early on, the better for everybody, I think.
100%. Well, parents and counselors, attorneys, I know judges, whoever, all these different people that are listening to us and all across the world, thank you so much for joining in, stopping by. We're extremely hopeful that the information that's being provided to you is something that you can actually apply, things to consider, and in ways that you can approach things more effectively. I think what I would hope for, I'm still waiting for it, I think it'll come, but I'm hoping to hear back from someone somehow that the information that is shared in the podcast had so much a significant impact on them that when they started to employ some of the things that they've learned, just the information they learned, it made a difference. Because I know it does, and we've seen it in real time. But I would love to hear from someone that never met us.
Yeah, leave a comment.
Yeah.
Slide in the DMs. Maybe don't slide in the DMs. Send us a DM.
You know what? Just get in touch.
Definitely better.
Get in touch. Let us know how you're doing. Well, thank you so much, Armando. I love the topics. I think they're great. I like how you talk about them and then you show how those things may show up in the family and then kind of ways in which they can engage and interact. I think we try to answer the how a lot. Like, here's what, and then we go to how. I don't know if they get a lot of why. Like, why does that happen? Maybe they do get a little bit of that.
Because you're guilty. Lots of why here. Because you feel guilty because you got divorced.
Right.
Sorry. I'm a little flippant. I apologize.
No, that's funny. That's funny. Well, thank you again, listeners, for being here. Thank you, Armando, for this presentation. And we just ask that you keep moving forward, everyone.